Hi YouTube, Engineer Boy 100. Guess what I got for you guys today? I have rattling on my front lower control arms. So today we are going to take out the old and put in the new. Look at that. Alright, so these control arms have two pieces. They have another little bracket here that holds a bushing, and this is the left side. So these are right and left specific. There's another one right over here. That's the right hand side. We're going to do the left hand side first, and we're going to do the left hand side on camera only because the right and the left are identical in terms of how they are removed and installed. So here's the other bushing, and it's already installed on the control arm itself. These are also right and left specific, so you got to make sure you get the right one. Unless it's supposed to be the left, then you want to get the left one, because I know somebody's going to get me on that. This one is, I don't know, we'll have to see once we get under there which one is which. It's pretty easy to figure. Right, it says right there. So we want the left one. So let's open that. But what I want to show you before we get under the car is where the three different sizes of the fasteners that hold this on. There are three sizes. There's a 12 millimeter, and there's only one. 12 millimeter goes right here, and it holds this bracket on, helps hold this bracket on. There are also 17 millimeter. The 17 millimeter, there are two locations. One on the end link. There's a 17 millimeter nut on the end link, and there's two 17 millimeter nuts on this portion that connects to the hub, and one 17 millimeter bolt. Two nuts and one bolt. Now there are two other locations. One is here on this bracket, and these are 19 millimeter. Okay, 19 millimeter on this portion, and this actually slides right on here. Okay, and it doesn't take a press or anything. Look, I'll show you real quick. It doesn't take a press. It goes on like this. Voila! Okay, and then you just bolt it on. Easy. I'll show you this again under the car, and then I'll show you how to actually install it. And the final 19 millimeter bolt goes in right here. Okay, and this goes up into a enclosure on the car, and then you put a 19 millimeter bolt in here. Okay, so now I'm going to go down to the car, and we're going to show you where this is, the old one is currently, and where those locations are again, and then we'll install it. Okay, so we're under the car, and I'm going to show you the four locations that the control arm mounts to. This is at the hub, and these are the three 17 millimeter. These are two 17 millimeter nuts, and there's one 17 millimeter bolt right there. Then if you come straight across, there's a 19 millimeter bolt, the one that I showed you. One bolt here, and I've already loosened them to make it easier for when I show you how it comes loose. And then if we go straight back, you will see here's the one 12 millimeter nut, and then there is a 19 millimeter bolt here, a 19 millimeter bolt here, and there's a 19 millimeter bolt over here. Okay, those are the three that hold that. This is in the rear, the back portion of the control arm, and here's all three of them together. Okay, if you can see all three of those. Now, there's one other place, and I'll have to go to the outside to show you that, and that is the 17 millimeter nut on the drop link. Okay, so here we're on the outside of the car, and this is the drop link right here, and you take only the bottom one loose, and that is 17 millimeter nut. Now it might spin on you, and if you look really closely, there's another nut behind it which is integral to the drop link. You might have to hold that with a thin wrench, some kind of a thin wrench to get back there and hold that, but usually you can just break it loose and you lose. Now the other way, I think there's an Allen I know there's an Allen. I don't know the size. Ah, messed up. I don't know the size. But there's an Allen hole in the center of that bolt. You can put an Allen wrench in here to hold it and turn it that way too. And turn the nut, and that Allen wrench will hold it so you can turn it. All right, so now let's take off the old. All right, guys, so the first thing I'm going to take loose is going to be the 3 17 millimeters on the hub. So I'll show you how hard that is when you have the right tools anyway. Voila, all done. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take loose the 19 millimeter right here in the front. Okay, so get the 19 millimeter. And there you go. Now we'll move to the back. Okay, so now we're in the back. We're going to take loose that one little 12 millimeter nut first, right here. And I already loosened it to save us some time. Voila, that was hard. And next, I'm going to take loose the 3 19 millimeter mount bolts. Here, here, and back here. Okay, let me move this back a little bit. Hope we don't mess up the light, but I gotta be able to fit in here. Sorry about that. Let's get the back one first. And cue music. There's one. Two. You gotta remember where these go because they're different lengths. It's another point that you can actually see in the video. Important. And 3. Okay. Voila. And now we only have one thing left to do, and that is remove the nut from the end link with the 17 millimeter. And then we can take the control arm off and put the new one to the outside and take off that end link. Okay, so now we can remove that bottom end link, 17 millimeter nut. Put that on, just like that. And that should come right out. Just connect to the sway bar there. Just move that up out of your way. Now we should be able to take that control arm off of the vehicle. Let me see if I can remove that. Very strange. It's like I can't even see what's holding it. But it won't let go. You want to see this from another angle? I'll show you guys what I'm dealing with. It looks like it's free, but it just doesn't come out. Uh-oh, here we go. I think it's coming now. Wow. So there you have it. Finally got it out. Okay, hopefully we don't have that much fun putting the new one in. But I'm going to do the back first with that 19 millimeter bolt. I'm going to put that, the one that I had such a hard time getting out. I'm going to put that in first, and then put that bolt in right now. See what we got here. See what we got. See what we got. Do that first. See here. I think I got enough room now. See. Almost. Watch, as soon as I get it move, it's gonna fall. I don't want to damage anything, so I think I'm going to try it with a mallet first before I bring out the baby sledge. So let's try the mallet and see if we can get. Looks like it's going. Let's see if the hole lines up yet. Go over there and look at it. Look at that. See if we can get those threads started. And I think everything else is going to be downhill from here. Can't get those threads started though. Sorry about my neighbor. He decided to wash his car. And he just been washing and washing and washing. Okay, as you can see, I finally did get that 19mm bolt to go in. I got the two nuts and one bolt for the 17mm over here on the hub in, and I got everything in the back. The 17mm on the drop link, the 319mm bolts, and of course that one 12mm nut. Now, one piece of advice. I actually got the right side off already, and in doing so I found that it's much easier to get this rear part off if you pry towards the outside of the car. In other words, on the right side, instead of prying down like I was on the first side, pry outwards. Pry, if this is in here, you want to pry out towards the side of the car instead of trying to pry down, and it slid right out like butter. Okay, so I'm going to button this up and I'll finish up this right side, and that'll do it. That's how you change the front lower control arms on a 1994 Toyota Corolla. And once you finish a job like this, you may need an alignment, a front end alignment, because you've taken a lot of things loose. You may not, you know, if it doesn't pull, but you may want to get it checked because you may not feel it right away, but your tread wear might get a little bit uneven if your alignment's not on. So you might want to get that checked. Get your alignment, make sure that that's all correct, and then have fun driving. All right, I have 3 final tips. I just couldn't let it go. So, tip number 1: when putting on the control arm and entering this difficult part right here that I had a hard time doing, it's a lot easier if you put a screwdriver in through this hole here. Once you get it in there, put the screwdriver in and pry on it and pull it on in to that little housing under there with the screwdriver. It makes it way easier, okay, for getting it in. I did it that way on the right hand side and it was a lot easier. Tip number 2, the whole control arm is actually easier to install without this on. Putting this on after was easier. And that leads into tip number 3. If you do that, it's going to be a little bit difficult to get this nut on, but you can do it with an open end wrench. You have to get in behind that sway bar with an open end wrench and tighten up that end nut. And that's all the tips I have for the front lower control arm on the Toyota Corolla 1994. Thank you for watching.